Driving skills affected by drugs, vision, perception, and judgment, Part 1. All substances have the potential to impair your physical and mental driving abilities. As a new driver, you should be aware that if you are impaired by any drug, you could be pulled over and charged with DUI or DWI, driving while intoxicated. This holds true for both prescription and over-the-counter drugs as well as illicit drugs. Drugs that are depressants, stimulants, or hallucinogens all have biological effects that can cause a variety of impairments. You can keep an eye on your physical and mental health and prevent driving while inebriated if you know what to look out for. Good vision and muscular coordination are two of the most crucial physical qualities you need to be able to drive safely, so let's start there. Eyesight impacted by drugs. For drivers, having clear vision is crucial. You cannot safely drive or take action to prevent danger if you are unable to appropriately assess the situation on the road in front of and surrounding your car. Drugs will partially affect your vision, and even very little vision impairments increase the likelihood that you may miss crucial information and have an accident. Alcohol, heroin, benzodiazepines, and prescription opioids are all depressants that slow down the central nervous system and affect how well the small muscles that control eye movement operate. This will make it difficult for you to adequately scan the road and may cause object fixation. Smoking, taking Ritalin, drinking coffee, and using cocaine are stimulants that can overstimulate eye muscles and cause excessive eye movement. This will make it more difficult for you to concentrate on a single location and get thorough visual data about a particular section of the road ahead. Additionally, hallucinogens like LSD and marijuana can impair normal eye movement, resulting in drivers gathering insufficient visual data. Along with it, the motorist could have hallucinations and see fictitious objects on the road. Drug-related coordination issues. Central nervous system depressants can obstruct the messages the brain sends to the muscles it controls. They may therefore hinder your ability to move, balance, and coordinate, three physical abilities that are essential for drivers. Numbness, delayed motion, heavy limbs, and lack of balance are side effects of depressants. Tremors, shaking, compulsive movements, and the inability to remain motionless are all side effects of stimulants. Either of these effects could be caused by hallucinogens. You might move slowly and unbalanced, or you might move frantically and compulsively. When consuming a hallucinogen, people frequently feel detached from their environment, which can cause them to move incorrectly. This can prevent you from using your foot to discover a pedal or your hands to find important hand controls. The driver will be less able to control their car and consequently more likely to get in an accident, regardless of the exact physical effects of the substance that has been consumed. Stimulant-induced impairments. Any chemical that has a stimulating effect will increase brain activity and turn up the signals that the central nervous system sends to the rest of the body. Stimulants frequently cause feelings of agitation and hostility. Your mind will be overactive and unable to concentrate on any one task well. When you're driving, it will seem like everything around you is moving at a frustratingly sluggish rate while your thoughts is rushing. Additionally, you'll be incredibly distracted, making it more likely that you'll make errors that enrage other drivers. This is a prescription for argument, erratic driving, and wrath on the road. Drivers who are high on stimulants are simple to identify. Some typical warning indicators include tailgating, driving at a high rate of speed, frequent lane position changes, frequent lane changes and passing, breaking right-of-way regulations, ignoring traffic signal timing, generally dangerous conduct, failure to exchange information with other drivers, jerky acceleration and braking. The primary driving abilities that stimulant medications will impair are broken down as follows. 1. Seeing. It could be difficult to get comprehensive information about the road if your gaze is shifting too much. You might also simply stare at what you see without taking it all in. 2. Focus. It is really challenging to focus your mind on a single task when under the influence of stimulants. Events from the past and the future that have nothing to do with your current environment or the activity at hand could cause you to become distracted. 3. Awareness. It will seem like everything is moving more slowly than it truly is. You'll probably drive faster than you intended to since you miscalculated the speed and proximity of other things. 4. Recall. You will find it more difficult to access stored memories without getting sidetracked by other ideas and occurrences if you use stimulants. Additionally, it may be challenging for you to decide which information needs your attention and how to connect memories with what you see around you. Even though your mind is working more quickly, it will still take you longer to think things through and decide what to do. 5. Arguments. You probably won't be able to reason things out thoroughly enough to make wise choices. You will also have trouble planning ahead. For instance, you might decide in a hurry to cross a street before the signal turns green without pausing to think about the possibility that you might hit other vehicles on the other side. 6. Decision. The sensation of invulnerability that stimulants can produce makes people more likely to ignore risk and make risky decisions behind the wheel. Deficiency brought on by depressants. By inhibiting brain activity and muffling the messages the brain sends to the rest of the body, depressants impair the central nervous system. Your breathing, digestion, and other essential biological functions will all slow down. Depending on the drug's potency, you could experience tremendous calm, sleepiness, and detachment from reality. Everything your body and brain does when under the influence of a depressive takes longer and is harder. Simple physical chores will be more difficult for you to do, and it will take much longer than normal for you to think things through and decide what to do. When added together, these impacts lead to a fatally prolonged reaction time, which is dangerous if you're driving. A driver under the influence of a depressive drug will not perceive danger the same way that a sober driver does. In fact, they could not even recognize danger. They may feel so detached from their environment that they are unable to comprehend why it is necessary to strive to prevent crashes. Driving skills affected by drugs, vision, perception, and judgment, Part 2. Depressant medicines commonly create physical and mental deficits that are quite similar to those brought on by drinking. However, some depressants have various outcomes, such as Xanax and Valium are two examples of benzodiazepines that frequently increase the feeling of alienation and increase the likelihood of aggressiveness. Alcohol generally has less of an impact on muscle coordination than barbiturates like Seconal and Nembutal. Alcohol may not considerably slow down the pupil's reaction to changes in light, but painkillers can. Antihistamines frequently lead to dizziness and confusion before losing muscular control. The majority of depressive medications can negatively impact your ability to drive. 1. Seeing. It will be harder to move your focus swiftly around the road since your eye muscles won't react to brain impulses as well as usual. The expansion and contraction of the pupils will also slow. Because of this, it will take longer for your vision to adjust as you drive through less lit places, and unexpected light increases could briefly make you blind. 2. Focus. People who take depressants may have a sensation of detachment and become preoccupied with their thoughts. When using a depressant, it will be nearly hard to pay attention to the work of driving. 3. Awareness. Distance judgment will be challenging, and other objects might seem to move more quickly than they actually do. Depressant-impaired drivers frequently operate their vehicles at dangerously low speeds, until they fall asleep behind the wheel with their foot on the gas pedal. 4. Recall. Long-term memory and short-term memory are both known to be impaired by depressants. You won't be able to decide what to do about anything you just saw because you won't be able to recollect it for long enough, and even if you could, you wouldn't be able to remember the material from your driver's education that you would need to do so. 5. Arguments. A depressant medicine will cause a severe slowing of your cognitive functions. You'll probably have already collided with a hazard by the time you realize it is there and determine what to do about it. 6. Decision. Extreme apathy may result from taking depressants. You might be unable to care about your own safety or the lives of other motorists. You won't be able to decide how to reduce risk as a result. Impaired state brought on by hallucinogens. Drugs that cause hallucinations are quite unpredictable and can seriously affect a driver's perception and decision-making. Memory loss, cognitive distortion, delusions, and hallucinations can all result from them. Hallucinogenic substance abuse can be extremely frightening and result in long-term psychological harm. An upsetting hallucination may induce severe dread, worry, and panic, which will result in exceptionally risky driving behavior. Even having a great experience while using hallucinogens would be disastrous if you plan to drive because you might perceive things inside your car and around you on the road that aren't actually present when doing these things. Although there is a lower likelihood of overdosing on hallucinogens than on depressants or stimulants, this does not make them any less harmful. Hallucinogen users often become so engrossed in the delusion or hallucination they are having that they purposefully drive off the side of the road, leap off buildings, or mutilate themselves. A hallucinogenic medication does not necessarily cause people to have vivid, visual hallucinations. The distortion of the user's view of reality is a more well-known effect of some hallucinogens. If this occurs, you might come to believe disturbing and false things about yourself, your life, and the outside world. A paranoid delusion of this nature can cause erratic, violent driving. You might even purposely cause injury to other drivers with your automobile and feel quite right in doing so. Hallucinogen-impaired drivers may behave in the ways listed below. Abnormally high or low-speed driving. Unpredictably increasing and decreasing speed. Driving slowly or stopping abruptly, especially on expressways, attempting to pull off impossible feats and engaging in other reckless activities. Complete disregard for changes in the state of the roads. Driving in a way that suggests it's motivated by panic, fear, or anxiety. Hallucinogenic medications will affect your ability to drive in the following ways. 1. Seeing. Your eye muscles could start to move faster or slower, which would make it challenging to follow the right processes for scanning the route. The drug's hallucinations will render the visual data you get erroneous. It's possible that your illusion will entirely overpower reality. Alternatively, you can see objects that aren't present in the actual driving environment and be unable to distinguish between what you see and what is genuine. 2. Focus. Your focus will be impaired by any psychedelic. You will be distracted from driving by unreal images, sounds, and feelings if you take a substance that causes hallucinations. When using a dissociative hallucinogen, you will feel completely separated from your body and sense of self, which will make driving impossible. 3. Awareness. The perspective of time and space is frequently warped when using hallucinogens. You won't be able to evaluate distances, keep your space around your car, gauge other driver speeds, or control your own speed at all. 4. Recall. Drugs that induce hallucinations can seriously harm memory. You might completely forget some crucial memories and informational snippets that are essential to your driving efficiency. Additionally, your mind may fabricate recollections of occasions that never happened or erroneously interpret actual memories. 5. Arguments. You need to be able to gather precise visual information and access the memories required to comprehend it, both of which you won't be able to do while using a hallucinogen. You're going to probably drive in a way that is completely improper for the road circumstances. 6. Decision. Your priorities may radically change as a result of wonder, excitement, anxiety, fear, or wrath, making you more likely to endanger yourself and other road users. Even if you know it's not a good idea to make a U-turn in the midst of a crowded highway, you can view it as a necessary evil in order to avoid some imagined danger. Driving skills affected by drugs, vision, perception, and judgment, Part 3. Limitations that rise and fall. Your body will attempt to rebalance itself and return to a normal condition once the first effects of any stimulant, depressive, or psychedelic have worn off. This is less of a problem with many commonly prescribed medications because your doses will be planned to keep you topped up and benefiting from the therapeutic effects of the drug throughout the day. When using recreational drugs, users frequently experience a come-down as the effects subside, followed by a rebound as their bodies attempt to offset the drug's effects. Your driving abilities will still be compromised whether you are rebounding or coming down. Depending on the substance and the dosage, come-downs can range from mild to quite painful for the user. The harshest come-downs are typically caused by euphoric drugs. When the substance leaves your system, happy and ecstatic feelings will be replaced with unhappy, anxious, paranoid, and even angry feelings. This will probably lead to aggressive or inattentive driving. Additionally, the effects of the drug that are still present in your circulation will continue to significantly slow down your reaction time. If you are coming down from any substance, including a hangover, don't drive. Your body will undergo a rebound phase once the effects of whatever substance you have taken have entirely worn off. Depending on the medicine, the dose, and a number of other variables, this could last anywhere from a few hours to several days. Your central nervous system will work to correct itself while you are rebounding by actively opposing the drug's main effect. Therefore, a stimulant rebound will result in depressive symptoms. The user could experience drowsiness, lethargy, depression, and slower cognition and movement. A depressive rebound will result in stimulant-like effects. The user could experience agitation, anxiety, restlessness, and racing thoughts. Recovering from a hallucinogen can have a variety of effects because these substances may also have stimulant or depressant-like properties. For a period after the drug wears off, users may continue to have flashbacks of the hallucinations and experiences they had while using. As you can see, rebounding from any medication can seriously damage your ability to drive. Strongly unpleasant rebounds can also result in continued drug usage since the user will consume more of the drug to mask the symptoms. Drug use and driving are incompatible. Many people mistakenly believe that they may use recreational drugs and still be safe drivers by waiting until they are sober before getting behind the wheel. Regular or occasional use of recreational drugs makes it impossible for someone to drive safely and competently. Due to the early intoxicating effects of the medication, followed by the come down and the rebound phase, your body will almost always be affected in some way. Users of prescription drugs must become accustomed to its negative effects and understand when to avoid driving since they have no other option. The usage of drugs recreationally is a choice. There is absolutely no need to experiment with drugs, harm your body, and develop into a risky driver unless you have been prescribed medication to treat a health issue.